What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Screen Sanctum. I'm Steve, and I am really late to the party, but I finally want to talk about the Fantastic Four First Steps. I know it's been over a month and I haven't had a chance to give my thoughts, so I'm going to do a quick video to give my thoughts. There might be spoilers. It's been a month. Like, if you're here and I spoil something, I mean, come on. It's been a while. So I always answer the first question first. Did I like the movie? Whether it was Superman or whatever it is, the first question someone would usually ask you when they find out you've seen something is, did you like it and was it good? I did thoroughly enjoy First Steps. It was a very good movie. The only problem I have with it, and not the movie, just like the MCU in general, is I feel like, and I'm not saying it has to be a different movie or whatever, but when the Fantastic Four, like when Fox was purchased by Disney and they announced the Fantastic Four, everyone was amped for it. Like, I was amped for it. I feel like if they would have released a movie like 2 years after the announcement, it would have made $1 billion. But I think we waited like 5 or 6 years. They changed directors, they changed the script a little bit, they made it a little bit different, and it didn't make as much money. But again, we're in a different kind of time period when it comes to movies. But saying that, I think this movie is better than that movie would have been, though I think that would have made more money, because I think if it would have came out 2 years after, it would have taken place in the current time. There probably would have been some crossovers. It might have had a different cast maybe, right? And the hype was there, but we had to wait and it was a little bit different. So for me, and as much as I'm an MCU stan and I love these movies, I don't really care about the Fantastic Four. The trailers were really good. I was kind of hype, but to be honest, I was more interested in Thunderbolts and Cap 4 this year than I was for Fantastic Four, but I seen it and I liked it. So basically all of the characters were really good. Like, it was a really good movie. It just, I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan. So Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal he was fine. He was good. He's good in everything, to be honest. For me, I'm not someone who was mad that he got cast. I like Pedro Pascal. I don't mind that he was Reed Richards. It's just, I've been watching so much of him lately that every time I see him in something, I just see him as him. And I never read the comics, so I can't say, oh, that's not Reed Richards. Like, he didn't do what they did in the comics, right? This is my Reed Richards, and he was great, I think. I won't say because I see him in everything that it was the same as Joel in The Last of Us. No, this was a totally different character. I like how he played it. They didn't do too much with his stretching abilities, which I think was kind of fine because this wasn't an action movie. It was more like a family, even though they were saving the world, right? It was just a little bit more like they had to think more than use their powers, to me anyway. So I enjoyed that. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm was probably the best of the Fantastic Four, I think, in this movie. She was so freaking good. She's good in everything, but like everyone in this cast is good in everything. I wasn't quite sure how we're going to pull off this plot with the baby and her being pregnant and Silver Surfer trying to steal it. But that was some really good stuff right there. Like, my heart was kind of pounding. You know it's a movie, but I could feel the Silver Surfer like really wanting to steal her child. And it was crazy that she gave birth in space. That scene might have been one, I think that was probably the best scene in the movie to me. The whole scene when they were in space, they meet Galactus, they find the Silver Surfer because they met her earlier, and then they escape and she's chasing them. That shit was crazy. That was dope. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, I thought was actually phenomenal. I grew up with the Chris Evans version. That's all I really know. Again, no comic books, just that. So when you see a movie and that's the only version you have, it's hard to see anyone else do it. And then the only other place I've ever seen Joseph Quinn was in Stranger Things. And that's a character, that's not the person. So when I saw he was announced to play this character that Chris Evans played, and he was in Stranger Things, I was like, how could this be Johnny Storm? Like, I didn't see it, but I give everyone a chance. And he killed it. He was so good. The relationship between everyone in the Fantastic Four as a family was amazing, and he was good. I really, like, coming out of that movie, I do want to see more of not only the Fantastic Four, but I do want to see more of Johnny Storm. Like it was pretty cool, and they had cool jokes in the movie. There weren't a lot of jokes, but I appreciated how there wasn't a lot of quipping. There are movies where quipping works, like Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a quipper, right? But a lot of the MCU movies have jokes, but First Steps, to me, it just wasn't like something serious is happening and then bam, a joke to ruin it. They didn't do that. And there weren't too many one-liners or jokes that felt like they didn't fit or they didn't work. I may not have laughed out loud to all of them, but to me, there was never a point in the movie, even because Johnny Storm, he jokes the most pretty much, where I was like rolling my eyes or anything. Never. And then we have Ebon Moss-Bachrach, I hope I pronounced that correctly, as Thing, Ben Grimm. I thought he did a wonderful job. I do appreciate how they didn't really change his voice. And to me, that works better because we know that, Ben Grimm was a human that turned into the Thing. But just because that happens doesn't mean you really have to make him have a gritty voice and talk like, clobberin time, right? And I'm not saying that that's happened. I'm not sure if it has. I'm just saying they could have done that to kind of distinguish Ben from the Thing. But having Thing just sound like Ben Grimm exactly kind of brings more humanity into it, because obviously when you see him on screen, he's a rock, right? And you see him as the Thing. But when you just hear his dialogue and he's not on screen, it's just a human. And you kind of connect with it. And then when you see him talking, you stick with it. I don't know if it makes sense, but to me, it just worked perfectly. And it humanized him, I guess, more than just making him always like, oh, I look ugly and this stinks, right? We don't have to hear that over and over. We see in the beginning when he's kind of looking at the TV through the glass, and they do this in a lot of movies. They did it in Spider-Man Homecoming, where you see his human face on TV and then the reflection is Thing. And you get it, like right there, you get it that he's looking at what he used to look like. And he's probably just reminiscing like, damn, I kind of wish I was like normal again, normal. But he does understand that even though he looks different, he has powers and he has responsibility, just like Spider-Man. And if I feel like he takes that seriously, where he does want to use his gift/curse for good, and he does do that. So I appreciate that greatly. Julia Garner as the Silver Surfer, Shia LaBeouf. I think she was the best character in the movie, and a lot of people might have a difference of opinion on this. And for me, I just like action. Like I love action scenes. And most of the time she was on screen, there was that big space chase where she gets tricked into going into a black hole. And that whole thing was phenomenal. Though I did love the beginning when we first met her, where she had her monologue heralding Galactus, which was dope too. Like I was on the edge of my seat for that. But I feel like she was perfectly cast. Again, I never knew there was this character as a Silver Surfer. I always thought there was just one. I had no idea. So when it was announced, initially I thought, oh, they're making the Silver Surfer a woman. That's cool. So it was nice to actually read and find out that no, there are multiple Silver Surfers in the comics, and they chose Shia LaBeouf first. I'm sure we're going to see the original. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's a multiverse, so I don't know if there's like another Galactus, but there has to be another Silver Surfer, right? Somewhere. Because I don't know, like with anchor beings, or like Galactus was born from the Big Bang, right? And if there are multiverses, are there multiple Big Bangs or multiple Galactuses? From what I've been reading or fan theories, is there is only one. So does that mean this Silver Surfer has to die in order for him to herald a new Silver Surfer? Or do we find out that that Silver Surfer already died and this is the new Silver Surfer? But she was great, man. She was so good. And that kind of leaves us with Galactus. And he was played by Ralph Ineson. I think I pronounced that correctly. Perfect. Galactus looked perfect. I don't know if he acted perfect because, again, I don't read the comics, but I have seen images from the comics. I think I actually did have one Silver Surfer comic when I was a kid. And the last time we got Galactus, he was a cloud, which was kind of weird. So it was nice that they gave us like the real comic book Galactus. And I've seen breakdowns and pictures, and he looked perfect. And the way they shot it, it just looked so grand. Like he really was the size of a planet, or, ridiculously big, like a celestial. And I appreciate that it wasn't 100% CG, where they actually had him on a miniature set in suit walking around sometimes. And that's so cool. Like, I don't complain about CGI, but it's nice when they mix it with something like that that's practical. And I don't think it would have looked as good if it was just 100% CGI rather than him actually being there with, the camera angles and movie tricks like that to actually have him look humongous. And it was cool. Was I happy with all of Galactus's screen time? No, I would have loved to see more, but I'm trying to think of this rationally. Even though this is like the 30-something movie in a cinematic universe, I kind of feel like this movie is not the reset of like what happens in Secret Wars, but I think this is like the beginning of the future. Like this is Iron Man 1. To me, anyway. I feel like this is going to be the beginning. Then we're going to get Spider-Man, Doomsday, Secret Wars, and then a reboot, right? Or a reset. And I just feel like this works perfectly like that because you don't want to, I don't know if you can kill Galactus, but you don't want to defeat him and never see him again. I feel like you wanted to defeat him in a way in this movie that maybe at the end of the sequel of Fantastic Four, we see him almost back, and then in the third movie, Galactus is back. I know Galactus is a Fantastic Four villain, but he could be a bigger villain. Maybe not Thanos, but could he just be in any movie? Like, if he wants Earth, and somehow the Fantastic Four are transported into the 616, and Galactus follows, like, it doesn't matter if it's just the Fantastic Four. It could be a Spider-Man movie, and you want it to be grounded. But why does Galactus have to wait for the Fantastic Four to try to come back? You know what I mean? It's almost like Dormammu. After the Time Stone was destroyed, like he's free to come take Earth like he said he wanted to. Do you have to wait for a Doctor Strange movie for that? I mean, typically maybe you would because Dormammu is a Doctor Strange villain. But I feel like villains that big, when their goal is Earth, they could show up whenever they want. And I really hope that after Doomsday and Secret Wars, every 3 years we get an Avengers, because I think that was a big problem where now that we know Dormammu is still there somewhere, Galactus is there somewhere, Doom is not going to die. Like, I don't think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom is going to be the main Doom. So we're going to have the iconic Marvel villains. Like, Doom is huge. Galactus is huge. So whenever they do like the next Avengers after Secret Wars, then one of them could come back or whatever. Like Ultron's coming back. I'm going off on a tangent here, but all in all to say, he was an amazing Galactus. I just wish there was more of him. But again, the sense I got for this movie was it wasn't supposed to be that type of movie. I know a lot of people just wanted it to be like cookie cutter, like first act, second act, third act, huge battle, like a 45-minute battle, like in Endgame, just with the Fantastic Four and Galactus. And it's not what we got. Like I said, to me, it was just more of a family movie. And if you didn't like it because of that, that's fine. You don't have to like everything. I thoroughly did enjoy it. But like I said earlier, I wasn't really anticipating this movie. And as much as I did enjoy it, I personally think I enjoyed Thunderbolts and Captain America a little bit more because there was a little bit more action. That's not to say Fantastic Four wasn't better. And I think you can distinguish between a movie being better and enjoying a movie more, to be honest. Like, Doctor Strange is still my favorite movie, the first one, but it's not the best movie in the MCU. Still, to me, it's like Winter Soldier or maybe Infinity War. So some people can't distinguish between this is the best movie, so I have to like this more, you know? So again, that's just me. I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan, but this movie made me want more. And that's the key. Because, like I said, if this would have came out 2 years after they announced it and it was a huge spectacle, then where are they going to go? I like how the first movie was just self-contained. It had a little bit of action, but it was more, I guess, character-driven, heartfelt. It was more about the family. So they could go a little bit bigger for the sequel because they have to make a sequel. Disney's been waiting way too long to get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to just make one and then say, nah, we're done with the Fantastic Four. But they could go bigger for the second movie, and then maybe they go super big for the third if they're doing a trilogy. Maybe the third movie is an Avengers movie. Like, there's so much they could do with them. And then we're getting the X-Men, so we're finally getting the main characters. And right now, I know it feels like too little too late because I think it's only going to make like $520 million, which is going to make its budget back. But we're so used to these movies overperforming, right? Like I always say, there are certain movies, and Fantastic Four isn't one of them. I think it should have made more. But there are movies like Ant-Man, who I think the second one made like $650 million, right? And then people expect Ant-Man to keep making a lot of money. But it's Ant-Man. Like the reason why we even got Ant-Man was because all the Avengers movies made $1 billion. That's how you can make these lower tier character movies, which they were forced to do. And now they have their main ones. But again, they announced them at a Comic-Con or a D23, and we still don't have mutants. We still don't have X-Men. Like it's going to be 7 years or 8 years. So I really hope when the X-Men get here that people aren't just bored, because they really could have struck while the iron was hot and introduced them. But like, they had a different plan. So all in all, I really enjoyed this movie. Herbie was so cute and hilarious and still didn't take me out of the movie because Herbie was still helpful. Herbie felt like part of the family, not just a robot that did their bidding. Like he had emotions and stuff like that. When he found out Sue was pregnant, he immediately started building stuff and like baby proofing when the baby wasn't coming for another however many months. But that was cool. I just, all in all, I really enjoyed it. The post-credit scene was fine. Like we know Doomsday is coming, so it was nice to actually see Doom from behind. But we still don't really get too much about him. I'm not one to complain like we haven't had a build up to Doom. I'm sure it's going to be fine. We had Thanos like once before we got Infinity War, right? I mean, we had the Infinity Stones, but I still think it'll be fine. I think in Spider-Man, there might be a bigger post-credit scene with Doom, or maybe at the end of that movie, because that's supposed to be street level. There'll actually be a scene with Doom in it. I think it'll be fine. Like the Russo brothers with their direction has never let us down yet. And when it comes to like the writing, I know a lot of people don't like certain writers, or some movies just weren't as good as the other ones, but they always usually tell a fine story, right? And the example I like to give is Thor: Love and Thunder, where I liked it, but I know I can enjoy a movie with its flaws. There was a good movie in Thor: Love and Thunder. There was just a lot of extra stuff to me, like jokes that didn't work, that didn't need to be in the movie. And yeah, a bad joke is bad writing. Like I did not enjoy the goats at all. That was annoying to me. But within that movie, there was a good movie. Like they had a plan and it made sense to me. So I don't doubt that they're going to hit a home run with Doctor Doom. I think it'll be fine. And one thing I just want to, this is like a tangent that people need to hear that I see on Twitter a lot, where they'll be like, I hope the Russo brothers don't ruin this character. Oh, Sue Storm was so good at Fantastic Four, the Russos are going to butcher her like they butchered so-and-so. The Russo brothers do not write these movies. They don't write them. They direct them. So if you think a character was ruined, blame the writers because they don't write it. That's it. So this isn't like a video for me to tell you, oh, you should see it. But I feel like you should. It was good. Superman in this movie kind of had the similar tone to me, For someone who didn't read comic books, but I know of comic books, I've seen covers, they both kind of took me back to like when I was a kid and my friends used to read comic books. Like this felt like an 80s or 90s movie. And that was pretty cool. It was refreshing, even though I would have preferred it if it took place in the main timeline, but they'll get there eventually. So that is my quick review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Again, I enjoyed it. It was a very good movie. I personally kind of didn't care about the Fantastic Four, but this movie made me care about them, and I am looking forward to more. So I love the MCU. I love comic book movies. I understand they're kind of hit or miss right now. To me, they're still mostly a hit. I enjoy them all, but I could do a whole video on this, what I'm going to say right now. But as much as I did enjoy Captain America Brave New World, I don't hate rewrites because every movie gets rewrites. What I hate is when they have a movie. This was supposed to be Captain America New World Order. They had an entire story and script. And for whatever reason, something happens in the real world, they get scared and they rewrite it and they have to like reshoot a chunk of it to change the story. Just do the movie. Like, we're not idiots. We understand that these movies are fiction, they're superheroes, they're fictional characters. Like, I know you're not purposefully trying to comment on something. Similar to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like the plot of that was supposed to be a disease, and then we got COVID, so they changed it. Why? I bet you, as much as I love that show, I bet you it would have been better if they just would have left it alone. Like, we don't need these changes. We are fans, adults, and we're not idiots. So I really just hope when they pitch a movie and they say, this is what we're going to do from now on, just do it. Just make the movie you wanted to make. And that's it. So Fantastic Four First Steps. Very good movie. I think if you like superhero movies and you like the MCU, you should go see it. Will it blow you away? It all depends on what type of movies you like. But I did like it. So I can't wait to see more of them. I can't wait for Avengers Doomsday. I cannot wait for Avengers Secret Wars to see all of these characters fight and to finally see what Robert Downey Jr. is going to do as Doctor Doom. So there you have it. So what did you all think of Fantastic Four First Steps? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let's just talk about it in the comments. Don't be hateful. Let's be adults and talk about things that we liked and disliked. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, guys.